Hello all, and welcome to a truly stellar episode of EverFree Radio. In this broadcast, we are all very proud and very honored to present our exclusive interview with Michelle Creber, the voice of Apple Bloom and singing voice of Sweetie Belle. Stay tuned for her take on singing, acting, flying, dogs, and Season 3. But first, Autumn and Crescendo and Moonlight review May the Best Pet Win. I'm your host, Final Draft, and I'm just as excited as you are, so let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to EverFree Radio's episode review of Episode 7, May the Best Pet Win. I'm Crescendo, here with my co-hosts,
AutumnSpice,
Moonlight.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, quite possibly because Rainbow Dash is my favourite pony, and it's always a pleasure to see more of her, but regardless of that, there are many good points that make this episode a fantastic showing. To start, I think we should go chronologically here, and I just love the fact that at the beginning, Rainbow is dreaming of racing. It is just so typical of her.
It is quite typical, but in a way I kind of felt like too typical. Thought so until the whole pet combo, like some sort of chimera of pets showed up. That was pretty funny.
That was certainly interesting. It was an alligator bunny owl with a cat tongue.
The cat tongue really freaked me out a bit.
I kind of thought it was a normal beginning until that happened.
Yeah, it did mislead you like that, but...
I think that's what they were aiming for.
Well, yes, it was a dream after all.
Well, I think they were aiming to make the viewer believe that it was actually the introduction at first, and then everything just went crazy, and you're like, okay, this is definitely a dream.
Well, it was either a dream or Dash was just going crazy herself.
Yeah, it's a bit cliche though, starting off with a dream.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think they did it well. That's the thing. It might be cliche, but if you do it right, it's still alright.
Exactly. One thing I noticed is that we often see Dash napping in a tree. Are trees just that much comfier than clouds?
Yes.
I don't think so. Clouds look really comfy.
They do, and I just love this is just a side note, that I just love the picture of Dash in a cloud going beep beep, I'm a cloud. It's so cute.
Well, knowing from experience, trees can be comfortable.
Trees can be comfortable, but we don't know about clouds.
Well, I don't think you can sleep in a cloud, unless you're a Pegasus.
Exactly.
We're not Pegasi, sadly.
No,
So we'll
we're not.
never know. We will never know which one's comfier. This episode focused a lot on Rainbow Dash's character development, but in a way, I really don't feel like she developed much at all. She was kind of mean.
I honestly felt that she developed a fair bit throughout the episode, especially since you see her go through such a range of emotions in this episode, and finally come to accept at the very end that Tank is a good pet, despite the fact that he's slow.
Well, I found that it was really nice that it showed that she valued loyalty more than anything else. Like whether she valued loyalty more than being cool.
Definitely did showcase her element.
Yes, it did.
Yes, and I think that's quite important in this show, actually, that of course the characters don't have to show their element all the time, but it is nice to see them going back to what makes the characters special, in a way. But it is interesting to see just how quickly she can go through so many emotions from the beginning, where she's in the park with her friends and she's like, no, it's no big deal, I'm just going to go back to sleep. And then you just see how fast her jealousy can onset.
Absolutely. And it's because Rainbow's competitive. She doesn't like being left out because she wants to be the best at it. And if she's left out, she can't even try.
And as our viewers probably already know, Dash is my favourite pony, so she is awesome.
Yes, the Dash is pretty awesome. Especially with sunglasses.
Yes, the return rainbow glasses.
You know?
You know?
And don't forget tortoise glasses.
Yes, there were 2 glasses references.
That was actually pretty awesome.
Ponies and glasses are going to be the new ponies and socks.
It's interesting. They seem to be putting Rainbow in glasses almost every episode.
Well, I remember there was one comment regarding that part, that it was because they thought Rainbow just looked awesome in glasses, so I guess they just enjoy putting eyewear on Rainbow Dash.
I guess. I think the only time we haven't seen her in glasses has been the 2-parter at the start of Season 2 and the last 2 episodes. It's Cutie Pox and...
The Sister Who's Social.
Yes, which we didn't get much of Dash in at all.
Yeah, you didn't really get much Dash in that episode, which makes sense because it was focused on Applejack and Rarity and Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom.
But when we do get Dash, she's usually shown up with glasses.
I just love the glasses so much.
That's including her Shadow Bolt costume with goggles.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that would count. Yeah, they really like putting eyewear on Rainbow Dash.
Probably just because she suits them, in my opinion, anyway.
I think you think Rainbow Dash suits everything.
Coming back to the main part of the episode, one major thing in this episode is there was a song. And it was a glorious song. There are so many things about this song that make it so wonderful. One thing I particularly noticed was that this song contains parts of the season 1 songs. Not like straight taking from them, but very heavily influenced on season 1 songs.
You know, I didn't think it was, but then I realized I thought I heard a little bit from Winter Wrap Up, and I was like, wait a minute.
I actually didn't notice anything.
There's also definitely parts that seem from At the Gala.
Yes.
Yes, another character we got to see a fair bit of, for the first part of the episode at least, was Fluttershy.
Finally.
Yay.
Yes, we've not seen much of her for the past few episodes, really, since she wrestled that bear.
And yet her appearance made it so worth the wait.
Crescendo, we did see her in Nightmare Night.
Oh, true.
Yes, she was, but there was not really any sort of significant Fluttershy-based moments that lasted very long.
Well, in Nightmare Night it was significant. It's teaching Luna how to talk quietly.
It was significant, but she didn't stick around because she was terrified.
Well, she was terrified. And
This episode, you see her constantly. There's a constant appearance of her. She's one of the main characters in this episode, which I thought was great. It was worth the wait.
well, what I think is that Fluttershy just spent the entire time after Nightmare Night hiding in her
Quite
cottage.
possibly.
Probably.
But one of the things that is nice to see about Fluttershy reappearing in this episode is that she's back to her usual self. Especially when you see her light up like a Christmas tree when Dash first wants to get a pet. And she is just so excited.
You don't normally see her that excited.
Fluttershy to be a main character in this episode?
I'd say. The episode really focused on Fluttershy and Dash.
But
and
do you
Tank.
think anybody expected that? I think maybe they all wanted it. I wasn't expecting her to be one of the central characters.
I was. If you're gonna make an episode about animals, you're gonna include Fluttershy in it.
Yeah, looking back, I'm like, I should have seen that coming. Animals, Fluttershy, she has like 5 bajillion of them living at her house. She's probably going to be able to provide Dash with a pet.
She has all the animals, all of them.
All of them. Mm-hmm.
I will say it is very interesting to see Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash interacting with each other, because they are not the most likely characters to really hang out, and we haven't really seen them interact this much since, I believe, it was the Sonic Rainboom episode.
Well, they do have a bit of history together.
They do.
I'd like to see more of that explored.
As would I.
Maybe we'll get it.
Maybe we will.
The music in this episode was outstanding. Not just the song Find a Pet, but the use of, Ride of the Valkyries?
Yes, it was Bride of the Valkyries.
I believe it is. Used in that scene. I kind of felt like it almost had a Fantasia feel to it, the way they matched the music up so well and didn't really have any speaking much during it.
It certainly did. I also enjoyed Rainbow Dash's subtle fourth wall breaking where she actually whistles a little bar of the song while flying along.
It was fantastic. It really did feel like a Fantasia-esque thing, and it just, once again, Daniel Ingram is doing a great job this season with the music. As I was saying in the Cutie Pops review, his music is much more conveying the attitudes. Like, you could probably have no words and just the music, and you'd be able to understand some of what was going on, if not all of it. And once again, the ante has been upped even further, even higher than before in the Cutie Pops, where it already was raised. The bar has been raised even higher with this kind of scene where it's just all the music offsetting the scene and doing it perfectly.
I certainly would agree.
I mean, it was to the point where they didn't need any words. And that says a lot about the musical scores.
Yes, the music was certainly very beautiful, and a very well done to Daniel Ingram once again for entertaining us so.
I look forward to more excellent pieces of music from him.
Well, it feels like they're going for a more musical feel, like not musical like music, but like musical like a stage production or like a a movie where they sing what's going on.
Like a Disney musical.
Yeah, and it worked so well.
Speaking of which, they broke the one rule of musicals. You don't reference the singing.
Should we sing about it again?
Well, that's why we're watching a cartoon.
You still don't recognize the fact that you were just singing a song.
You should expect it from them now, knowing their humor.
But,
I thought that the way they were having a conversation in the song was great.
Yes, and it was very fitting with a few of the other musical examples in the show. One that springs to mind instantly would be Art of the Dress, and how they're talking to Rarity in that episode.
Yes.
During the song. Now, another musical thing I noticed would be the music was getting more dire as the race progressed. Just to show, like, how difficult it was getting. At first it was just a simple wind tunnel, but it was getting more and more dramatic as they were flying through the brambles, eventually leading up to the climax where Rainbow Dash is trapped under a rock.
Well, once again, I think that's Daniel Ingram really working on having the music express what is going on, so much to the point where you don't even need words. If you wanted to get rid of the speaking, it would still be fantastic and in a way more powerful in certain scenes, such as the race.
Now, on the topic of Rainbow Dash being trapped under a rock, who else thought it was 127 Hours Pony Edition?
I think everyone did.
I don't know what you're talking about, so I'll just nod and say I did.
I honestly thought it might have been a subtle nod to the film and the actual event. I mean, it's quite possible it wasn't, and it was just coincidence, but yeah.
Well, when it comes to the staff that are working on Pony, usually if you think it's a reference, it probably is. Like, it just depends. I feel like that would have been their big reference drop this episode, because I think each episode we've been seeing a bit of a pop culture reference drop. It's above the target audience's comprehension in a way, so I think, again, it's probably, if not that, then there was something else in there that was a reference.
That's just your opinion, man.
You would probably be surprised at the amount of references in the show, but they do it in a majority of cartoons, actually. There are so many that you can find more adult humor in a children's cartoon.
Yeah, it's true. Taking one example, which also had a voice actress from the show in it, Rugrats. Half of it, the kids would be, like, looking away because they didn't understand what was going on, and the adults would just be cracking up. Watching it again now, I can see that there was a lot of humor hidden in there, and I think that was kind of the aim for Pony. Not as much, not as outright as Rugrats, but to have it be a show where, again, and Lauren Faust actually said this, it's a show in which the children and the parents can enjoy together. For different reasons, but they still can enjoy it.
I will say, going back to the episode now, that it's nice to see Rainbow Dash finally getting a pet, because after the episode where Twilight gets Aloysius, I realized that she was the only one without a pet at that point. And from the beginning, we all knew that Tank the tortoise was going to end up as Rainbow's pet.
Mm-hmm.
It was blatantly obvious.
Oh, no, I knew, and not only because it was a very obvious push toward the tortoise, almost said turtle. See, making the same mistake everybody in the episode did. The way that Tank was shown during the song, it was very obvious. So There is a Rainbow Dash toy. I actually have it. It is now Spitfire, but I still have the little accessories that came with this toy set. The skateboard, I think, whatever it is, the riding along with Rainbow Dash set comes with a tortoise, whatever you would like to call it.
Yes.
And it looks a lot more like a turtle, the toy does, but I think this might have been one of Hasbro's, like, can you make this match, that kind of things.
That's quite interesting to see if Hasbro did actually have a hand in doing that.
I think they did.
Or if it was purely coincidental, though I highly doubt that.
Right when the synopsis came out for this episode, I was like, it's going to be a turtle of some sort.
Tortoise.
Well, I didn't know it was a tortoise back then, but I was like, this toy comes with a plastic tortoise, and this could be a perfect way to give that playset a little more, I guess, canonical accuracy, which is kind of funny, seeing as they don't try to make them look like the characters, but they'll match them with the pets.
On that note about everyone correcting people when they say turtle, I did love how Fluttershy at the end, instead of saying tortoise, said turtle,
It's the turtle! Tortoise!
and then everyone else corrected her. That was quite ironically funny.
Exactly. Love it. Moonlight, you're a huge fan of Fluttershy. Did you think she was pretty much perfectly in character this episode? Were you happy with finally being able to see her a bit more?
Well, yes, I do think that. Well, throughout the whole episode, she was a bit more assertive and outgoing, but it's understandable because she was excited about something that she loved very, very much.
She definitely lights up.
And yeah, I know from experience that once you get excited about something, you're going to suffer a complete personality shift half the time. Well, in the case of the introverted types.
It's definitely a welcome trait in Fluttershy, though, compared to her very scaredy cat attitude.
You can't be a scaredy cat all the time.
Well, she is afraid of her own shadow.
Right, that would just not be very fun, and she wouldn't be a good character.
No, that's true as well.
Yes, well, so am I, but that doesn't mean I'm scared of everything all the time.
But yes, the characters were, however, being very atypical of themselves in this episode, though, with Dash being very cocky when she's doing the race, and she's like, oh, whoever passes the finish line with me wins, and she's instantly assuming she'll be the first across the line.
Well, that's just Rainbow Dash being Rainbow Dash.
That doesn't assume she'll be first. She said, whoever passes the finish line with me. Doesn't mean first.
No, but at the
With
very
her.
start of the race, it quite implies that she'll be the first across the finish line.
True, but on that note, I think that was a really good portrayal of what she really values, because the whole time she was looking for someone who would be loyal to her. Well, also cool, but the last thing she was looking for was loyalty.
Well, tortoises can be cool. I mean, did you see the helicopter that he got?
They're very cool. The Celestia magic-powered helicopter tortoise.
I think it's just battery-powered. Double A's, you know?
No. There was magic in there.
Double A's, so you can buy the tank copter.
And it's now canon. Celestia does steampunk work.
Or batteries are magic, quite possibly.
Or not exactly steampunk, but speaking of canon, on the subject of tanks, guns are now canon in Equestria.
Let's not go into this.
The Rainbow Dash mentions bullets. What?
Let's not go into that.
Maybe they're a mythological thing, and she was reading about it and was like, wow, these things seem really fast. Let's just leave it at that.
Right.
It's entirely possible. One thing we've yet to touch on in this episode is the actual contest before the race. I did love how Dash, at the very beginning of the contest, went full-on coach mode with the whistle and the hat.
That actually reminded me of the movie Full Metal Jacket with the war face scene. But that was just me. It might not have even been a reference to it.
I just reminded myself of a point, actually, where when Rainbow Dash is explaining the contest to, I believe it's Fluttershy. No, she's explaining the contest to the pets, and she's explaining the qualities necessary to win her over. And I think it's after the one that's after speed, where she dashes off and flames trail behind her, which is another awesome skill that Rainbow Dash can do. Rainbow goes into Tron mode.
Yes, that was very cool.
Might not have been a nod to Tron, but either way, I think that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, there was also that, the flames, which could or could not have been a reference to Back to the Future.
I would be so happy if it was.
Quite possibly. As would I.
She made two different trails. That was interesting.
Just makes you wonder, was she going 88 miles an hour?
Oh, she most likely was.
Another thing I've noticed in this episode is there was a heavy usage of the sounds. I'm not talking music, I'm talking the actual sound effects, which quite added to the episode in my opinion. Especially, like, for example, when they do the initial race, where they're going around the lap, and all the animals are making motor noises. It's like a car race.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was odd.
What about that talent show? How about that? I thought that was really funny.
I thought that was funny too, especially where Tank had this entire course set up, a Daredevil course. It makes you wonder how he managed to set it up in time.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Just to fail right at the end by jumping a measly couple of inches.
Maybe he got Fluttershy to help him.
Quite possibly. It does make you wonder if Fluttershy knew right at the beginning that Dash would end up choosing Tank as a pet, and that was why she was pushing him on her so much.
Maybe.
Who noticed the Hypno Butterfly?
Oh my goodness.
All hail the Hypno Butterfly.
Oh, man.
I thought it was a reference to Mothra. I might just be hoping too much.
Quite possibly could have been. You never know with these references. They have a habit of sneaking up on you.
Now, one thing I noticed, not just in this episode, but from the very beginning of the season to this point, is the animation has improved quite a bit since last season.
Oh, most definitely, but that would come with experience after all.
It's fun to watch it evolve, definitely.
Oh, it is, and I must say the animators and the artists are so very talented.
Yes, although there was that one screw up with the duck.
Oh god.
I don't recall this.
Well, there was a bit of a layer error. I'll let Moonlight explain the rest.
There's a scene in the episode where Rainbow Dash is leaning down to the ground when suddenly a duck from the background appears in front of her face.
Like, blatantly in front of her face.
That is interesting.
Yeah, like right in front of it. You can't miss it.
But everyone makes mistakes. Animation errors are to be expected, really. As long as they're relatively minor, I don't think it matters. I mean, especially...
Oh, I think it's just funny to see.
Oh, they are.
I think, when you're working on so much stuff in Flash, they might just miss something like that.
I will say, if it weren't for animation errors, Derpy wouldn't have been born, really.
True.
Speaking of Derpy, I did not notice this on my first watch through, but our
Nor did I.
producer, 8-Track, pointed out that Derpy peeks out of the chicken coop during the song at the pan out, and indeed, this is true.
It just goes to show that the animators want to show the fandom that they're listening, basically. They know which background ponies are popular.
Has there been a single episode in which Derpy was not there? I think this might be turning into a Where's Waldo kind of thing, and I'm liking that.
As am I, really. It's almost like an Easter egg of the show.
I think the animators did say at one point that they were going to do that with Derpy, but I can't recall.
It's very clever. I feel like they did say they were going to put her in as an Easter egg, but I'm surprised she's in every episode, and that if they can't really fit her in easily, they're doing something really clever, like hacking out of the chicken coop.
Yes. I do think that there are so many ways they are listening to the fandom and going for what can be referred to as an accidental demographic, really. Because, I mean, nobody expected the brony fandom to happen.
Nobody expected the Brony Inquisition.
Oh dear.
Did anyone else notice that Gummy was a brain slug for Pinky?
No!
Only after you mentioned it.
I did not notice this. I will have to go back and rewatch the episode now.
And they put an image of Pinky and Gummy next to the original picture from, is it Futurama?
Yep,
And
it's from Futurama.
it was really, really exact. Like, Gummy had the lip thing, alligator having lips, but Gummy had the entire face, the facial expression, the position on the head. I'm pretty sure that was a shout out. I thought it was really funny when Rainbow Dash was like, dun dun dun!
Through Ghastly Gorge! Dun dun dun!
She's like, race, dun dun dun!
Well, we know who's been hanging around Rarity recently.
Exactly.
Rainbow Dash is just getting a bit more dramatic.
I think they're all taking small traits from one another and kind of developing as their friendship continues.
That is generally what happens when you hang around with a bunch of people so long. I mean, I've started...
Like you guys.
Yes, I've started to gain traits from you all.
I've started to become less introverted.
But yes,
I'll blame Bones for that.
it's always interesting to see the main six taking traits from each other. I mean, especially when you don't expect it as well. It's lovely to see Rainbow Dash being more dramatic. Touching on the point we mentioned earlier of Fluttershy being more assertive and happy and bouncy.
I'd say she's about 20% more dramatic.
Oh, that will never get old.
I also, speaking of Rarity, for her short appearance, she sneezed, and it was really cute. There were just small things in this episode that I thought were really neat. There was the Rarity sneezing was really cute. I thought that Opal when they were having the contest to take away Opal's toy, did anybody else think they were definitely going for the Colosseum lion thing?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I was noting that it was very much like a caged beast being let out to guard their treasure or something, quite like a dragon from a certain game we've been playing too much.
Yes.
Let's not go there.
Oh, God.
We could speak for hours about that.
I also thought Opal was just hilarious in this episode. They've been including Opal in the last few episodes, and she's just, like, so mean.
Well, there's no way they could avoid putting her in this episode since it's an episode about pets.
I was happy to see Owlicious again. I was not expecting that until I was like, wait, pet episode. I guess Spike wouldn't really work.
Yeah, Spike is an assistant. Owlicious is more of a pet.
Well, now we've had that confirmed through this episode. For anybody who was arguing about it, and there probably were people who were arguing about it.
Most likely, this is the internet we're speaking about.
There was, Fluttershy being really funny. Should we sing about this song again? Sing about this song again. Should we sing about it again?
Sing about the song?
I thought that was great, and also when she asked,
Yay?
I think everybody freaked out at that one.
Yes, I can't believe we haven't had a Fluttershy yay for so long. I'd also like to touch a bit more on the song, actually. There were so many amazing parts of that song, from animation to the actual vocals. It just fit together so well.
There's a huge improvement in the music.
Definitely.
I think it's because Daniel's getting more used to the series, and his vision of what he wants is a lot more clear.
Most definitely, and especially since he's been working with it now for a whole season, he knows which direction to take it in.
Definitely. He's also been asking fans, like, what did you think of the song, and, things like that.
Yes, I noticed that. If you wish, go leave a comment on his Facebook page. I'm sure he would appreciate it.
I just couldn't believe the length and just power of the song. It really was exciting, and I remember I was watching this on a live stream, and the entire chat box exploded when the song came on.
I definitely squeed a little with happiness when I first heard the music kick in.
Oh, I was imagining you exploding.
It was a brilliant song with my favorite character and voice actress, and it just worked so well, in my opinion.
I can't wait to get started. But first let me set a few rules. It's of utmost importance the pet that I get is something that's awesome and cool. Awesome, cool, got it.
So, I think we finally have to come to the part where we rate the episode out of 5.
Alright.
Oh, really?
I believe I shall go to Autumn first. Give us your input.
Honestly, I wasn't sure what I was expecting when I approached this episode. I was like, maybe it's just an in-between. It's finding a pet. I mean, what are they going to do with it? Then the music started, and I'll have to say, I said, and I will stick to my word, instant 5.
You, Moonlight?
I'm going to have to give it a 4.5. Well, it was a good episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Rainbow Dash.
And as for myself, you viewers already know that I'm a huge Rainbow Dash fan. There's no way I could forgive myself if I didn't give this episode a 5. But there are good reasons.
Pretty easy 5 for Rainbow Dash right there.
There are definitely good reasons too. The plot just flowed so well. The song was absolutely amazing.
It really was.
Best song.
If it's not stuck in your head, it should be. It honestly should be.
It's been rolling around in my head, like, the entire weekend.
I cannot wait for the remixes of it.
Oh man, that's gonna be great.
The comedy of the episode was brilliant. The dramatic effect
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun!
was brilliant. And I am just so happy with how this episode turned out. So, yes, there's no way I could forgive myself if I didn't give this a 5.
Not bad, we've got 2 5s and a 4.5. I think every episode of Season 2 so far has not disappointed at all.
No, it definitely hasn't.
Most definitely. I am very happy with how the season is turning out so far.
Well, we're getting much more character development.
And there's definitely more yet to come.
It's exciting.
Thank you for listening to our episode review. This has been Crescendo.
And I'm AutumnSpice.
And I'm Moonlight.
Can't settle for less cause I'm the best, so a contest we will see. Who's the number one greatest, perfectest pet in the world?
Everyone give Moonlight a big round of applause for his first episode review. Oh yeah, it's a podcast. Anyway, next up is our interview with Michelle Creber, so here's the all too appropriate Trance Blossom remix of Hush Now, Quiet Now.
How about I sing you a lullaby? Hush now, quiet now, it's time to lay your sleepy head. Hush now, quiet now, it's time to go to bed. I know this one. Oh, how wonderful. Why don't you sing it with me? Hush now, quiet now, it's time to lay your sleepy head. Say hush now, quiet now, it's time to go to bed. Drifting off to sleep, the exciting day behind you. Drifting off to sleep, like a door of dreamland.
At last is the moment you've all been waiting for, as the insanely lucky Autumn and Crescendo interview Michelle Creber. They're so lucky.
Hey everybody, this is AutumnSpice. I'm here with Crescendo, and we have something very special in store for you. I would like to introduce our special guest, Michelle Creber.
Hello everybody!
So Michelle, which voices do you do in My Little Pony?
Well, I am the speaking voice of Apple Bloom, and then I am the singing voice of Sweetie Belle, the other Cutie Crusader.
So, what is it like singing for a different character?
Well, Sweetie Belle has a very high-pitched voice. She's also supposed to be a good singer, so it's fun to sing good because with Apple Bloom, she's not supposed to be the best singer, but she's all right. I mean, she's not as bad as Scootaloo, who basically screams when she sings. But nowadays, we're making them all have good voices, so it's fun to do a good Apple Bloom voice in a southern accent.
So, with the singing, with the other characters, do you guys all record in the studio together when you're singing, such as for the Cutie Crusader song?
Yeah, we usually all do it together. Well, it depends. It really varies. I mean, if we're all there or if we are called at a different time, at a different session because somebody else couldn't make it. It really depends, but usually we like to do it together because we're all great friends and it's really fun to sing together, so yeah.
So, I'm assuming you're very familiar with the other two Cutie Mark Crusaders then?
Yes.
You three have been doing voices for a bit. What is it like to be performing at your age? I mean, does it affect your education at all? Like, what do you do for fun? Stuff like that.
Well, this is what I love to do. I mean, I do distributed learning, which means I don't go to a regular school, which means I have more time to do things like this and my film and TV work and such. I mean, I miss going to regular school, but on the other hand, this is what I love to do, and I mean, this is my passion, really. So, what I like to do for fun? Well, I love to dance. I love sports. I like to bike ride with my dad around Stanley Park in Vancouver. I love playing with my two dogs, Max and Marley. I love reading and writing. And I love my parents.
So, Michelle, for the first thing you found while searching for a voice agent was the role of Lucy from the 1950 classic comic Peanuts at age 7. What was it like to take this role?
Well, it was the first thing I ever did, and it was a voice copy, which means I had to copy the original voice, and it was a really natural voice for me. It was a really fun thing to do, and it was very iconic, and I'm proud to say that I am the voice of Lucy.
Are there any elements of the character of Lucy that you are reminded of in yourself at all? It's kind of interesting to see connections between voice actors and actresses and their characters.
Well, I mean, Lucy's quite a character. She takes that football away and she just gives Charlie a good talk down, but I mean, she's mean. She's pretty sassy, and I don't really see too much resemblance with me and her. But she's also got quite a bit of logic to what she's saying. I think she's almost like in a different world. She's just so sarcastic.
You give out information, advice for 5 cents.
Oh, no, I don't usually stand out in the middle of a park asking people for 5 cents for the psychiatry booth, but yeah, she's a little bit crazy. Definitely beyond her age. She's like 58 and smart. The measure of smart. Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's definitely beyond her years. Well, if we could give you 5 cents, what kind of advice would you other budding voice actors and actresses?
I'd say be creative. The best thing you can do is just practicing some different voices, get a lot of different characters in your mind, create a few different voices to start out with, and then branch out from there. Getting yourself an agent is a great thing. They find projects for you to audition for, and they're extremely helpful to get you out for auditions and to book you gigs. And yeah, just be creative and imaginative.
We've heard that you've had a very busy morning recently where you've had to sing for an episode of My Little Pony all morning, then record an episode in the afternoon before racing to the theatre for an evening performance. How was that?
Really, it's actually quite fun. I mean, I don't get that tired because in the studio, you don't need to worry about like what you look like. You just get to relax and have fun, and it's really not that hard for me anymore. I mean, in film and TV, I work 11-hour days, and I don't even notice that I've been working that long even then. So it's like nothing.
It's wonderful to see that it's such a passion. I've noticed that you've worked on a couple of other shows as well, such as Martha Speaks, and that you were with some of the voice cast that are now on My Little Pony before you were on this show.
Well, in this voiceover world, you often see a lot of the people that you do other shows with. So Maddie, who plays Scootaloo, is the lead voice in Martha Speaks. And Tabitha, who is the voice of Rarity, is the dog, Martha, in Martha Speaks. So those are the two people that I really love working with in Martha Speaks and in My Little Pony. So yeah, it's just really fun, and we always get to see each other, whether it's in the session or just auditions.
So, I have a question about your voice. How do you adapt it, prepare it before a show?
Before going into the studio,
Yeah.
I honestly don't think about it. I just make sure my voice is all right. I drink warm water, and I'm ready to go. I've been doing this voice for. I've been doing the voice of Apple Bloom for about a year and a half now, so it's pretty natural. The first time I made sure my voice was just right, but now I don't even need to worry about it, because really, if you worry about something, you'll be perfectly fine. You're just getting paranoid, really.
So, for voice acting, you also sometimes have to change the voice of your character around a lot, and we saw that happen a lot in the most recent episode about the Cutie pox. What kinds of things did you do to, for example, speak with the rather adorable lisp that Apple Bloom got when her tooth was chipped?
I think about if I have a chipped tooth. Sometimes before I say a line, I might stick my finger in my mouth and see how it sounds like this, and then I can just do the voice. That was very fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing that episode.
Speaking of seeing the episode, do you follow the series? I mean, I know that some of the other voice actresses that are involved in the show do not actually watch the entire series. Do you watch and enjoy the series, My Little Pony?
Oh, yes. Yes, I love My Little Pony. It's very funny. I love the humor in it. And especially because I like to read the scripts, I love to see the final picture. And even if it's an episode that I'm not in, I just love the characters. And all my fellow voiceover actors are just brilliant. I love listening to them, and then I love watching their voices being brought to life into their characters. It's really fun.
So, as you probably already know, there is a very large fandom following the current generation of My Little Pony. Do you know much about the fandom? Did you expect it to occur?
Not as big as I expected it to be. Actually, it's really cool. I think that this humor can be taken many ways, and that it can be sophisticated, but at the same time, it's very enjoyable and entertaining and easy to understand for younger kids. And I think that it's really cool that it's reaching such a broad audience.
It's definitely uniting a lot of people. It's an interesting thing to see. Kind of going back to the voice tricks a little bit, when you were speaking French in the episode, I was curious, do you actually know French? I mean, being in Canada, I think you possibly would know some. And if so, did you enjoy learning it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm actually a quarter French, and I speak it not fluently, but I do speak it in school, and also my mom's family speaks it. So, yes, I do speak French, so that was not a trouble, because they were quite easy lines. So,
When the show was first beginning, did you apply for the role of Apple Bloom, or were you asked specifically?
No, I have an agent, and she sent me in for the audition, and I only did one audition for 7 characters, actually, and then they cast the adults as the main roles. And so then these 3 other characters came along, Sweetie Belle, Apple Bloom, and Scootaloo, and I sang for the part of Sweetie Belle. And to be honest, I thought I was going to get Sweetie Belle because she was the singing voice. She was the one that sang, but I got Apple Bloom, and I was actually really happy about that because the voice is a lot more challenging. I mean, now it's not, but I thought it was really fun to get that role, and that I'm also the singing voice of Sweetie Belle.
So, which other 6 characters did you audition for?
The 6 leads. Spike, Rarity, Applejack, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, and Twilight. Oh, and Pinkie Pie.
Well, I think you'd make a great Pinkie Pie.
I love Andrea's voice. Her voice is so brilliant. We're all just cracking up in the studio. She's just brilliant. I mean, her voice of Fluttershy is so different from Pinkie Pie, and it's really funny because she does them right after another, and she just switches right away. It's hilarious.
Well, you weren't expecting to get the character of Apple Bloom, but when you did get this character, did they give you a criteria, like an idea for the voice that you had to, fill in, and then you kind of just...
Well, I mean, when when you go in for an audition, they give you the sides, and with these sides, they give you a character description. And this character description tells you about the character. Quite not that much information though, because usually in auditions in voiceover they want you to make it your own, and so there was really no restrictions to what you could do voice wise, and so you could be very creative. And I created this country Apple Bloom, this cute little pony, and I was cast. So that just shows how much creativity can get you.
So how much would you feel of your own personality is put into Apple Bloom then?
Well, Apple Bloom's a lot whinier than I am. She wants to get her cutie mark, so I think that's overwhelmed her a lot, and that she's getting very stressed because her and Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo I think are frightened now that they're not even going to get one ever. But I think she's really sweet, and she's fun, and she's caring like me, and she has a sense of humor. I have a good sense of humor. In the episode The Cutie Mark Crusaders, we all were entering a talent show, and I thought the episode was really fun because we were all doing the wrong thing. So Scootaloo was singing, I was dancing, and Sweetie Belle was doing arts and crafts. Now, what it should have been was Scootaloo was dancing, I was doing arts and crafts, and Sweetie Belle was singing because she's the one with the fabulous voice. And I think Apple Bloom's talent is really arts and crafts, and you see that in every single episode. She just doesn't know it yet. And I will be very excited the day the script says that they find their cutie marks, which hopefully is a long while from now, so we can build up to it.
Yeah. So, what elements of Apple Bloom's character are your favorite?
Her friendship with the two other ponies really gets them into funny situations, and they go on adventures, and they face a lot of challenges, and they overcome them. They learn a lot of lessons, in life lessons. And so I think that my favorite personality about her is her friendship with Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo.
How do you feel that other people view Apple Bloom?
Well, I think they think of Apple Bloom as, I mean, she's supposed to be a little kid, so she does not know everything yet. And that Apple Bloom is a very fun character, and I think people like this southern accent. I like the character. I mean, even if it wasn't my voice, I would love the character because she's very cute, and her little face, the way they animated it with the big pink bow and the eyes, the way they animate these ponies' eyes are so cute. I love watching the character.
Are you in much contact with the animators and other producers of the show?
Yeah, our producers are often there, and we have our people in LA with the hub on the phone, usually when we do our sessions. And just a floor up from where we do our recording sessions is where they animate all the episodes. And so we often go up there, and they show us how the episodes are doing, and they show us the rough animations of how our episodes are doing, and we get to meet all new people every single time, and it's fun. Yeah.
There's a lot of people do assume that you get to be with the other voice actresses all the time, but do you get to record your lines separately in some cases? Is that how it works with voice acting?
Not usually. I mean, the only time that we really do that is if one of us can't make it to a session and we have conflicts. Sometimes we do pickups, which means we don't do the lines with the rest of the people in the episode, or we fix them, or we add lines, things like that. So all the characters often go in for that, or do them at the same time we're doing a session. Or really with voiceover, it's not like film or TV, because you can do things over again, and you can do a session another time. I mean, it's really good to also do the scene with other characters, because, I mean, acting is reacting, so it makes it a lot easier. Sometimes we do sessions without the other characters, so, I mean, that's fine.
You mentioned earlier something about recording songs in tune. Does this mean we're going to hear many new songs?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, we're doing a song every single episode now, basically. I can't tell you yet, but you're going to hear a lot of good singing in season 3, so be excited about that.
Well, it's clear that you're very talented. I would like to bring up that you're also a theatrical performer starring in The Wizard of Oz that just began recently on the 4th of November. How is that role going for you?
Oh yeah, it's going great. I mean, working with my 2 dogs are hilarious. I mean, I did Annie with them 2 years in a row, and one of my dogs was Sandy, and the other one was a cameo, the Mutt in the Alley. But I love working with our cast and crew because they're so amazing, and the show has turned out so well. The thing about Wizard of Oz, it's a very technical show, so we have flying and insane sets and lights and all that kind of stuff. So Tech Week was a little bit insane, which means basically the cruise week. So we get 2 months to practice and they get a week. But the crew and cast are doing extremely well, and it's a great experience.
It certainly sounds like fun.
Yeah.
When you're acting live or on TV live, rather than voice acting, do you prefer differently?
Do you mean film and TV, or do you mean interviews, or?
Theater.
It depends. I mean, I love theater, and I love improvising as well, which means I think of things on the spot if things don't go as we planned. And with voiceover, I mean, you say it's not as much effort. I mean, that's when you really get to focus on the character and what they're saying in the subtext. But in stage, also, you see everything at its final stage. With voiceover, it's just the beginning. So it's different, but it's very fun.
You mentioned that you are acting with your 2 dogs in The Wizard of Oz, and I also saw that you acted with one of your dogs in Annie. What is it like acting with your own pets, and how did you train them? How did you find out that they were talented for this kind of performing? I know that you love your dogs very much, so wanted to ask about that.
Well, honestly, when we got Max, my first dog, now he's 5, and he's a Yorkie poodle, which means he's a quarter poodle and the rest he's Yorkie, and he can be quite stubborn, but he's extremely smart, so he almost outsmarts us. Expect him to be a stage dog, but this kind of breed of dogs love to have a job to do, and they don't just like to sit around the house and eat and drink, So, but we weren't expecting them, and when Max was 16 months old, we took him to one of the Annie rehearsals, and our director, Lelania Limburg Strula, said, "Oh my gosh, that's the cutest dog ever. Can we have him for Sandy?" And we almost laughed because Max was a frisky little puppy, but Mom trained him. I mean, the first week, Mom had to force him down to the ground just to get him to lie down, so we thought he was hopeless, but then he just suddenly started doing his tricks, and from now on there, for years, they've been on stage performing with me in Annie and Wizard of Oz. And actually, Max did a movie with me, Christmas Lodge, which just came out in the States and Canada. And he was my dog in that. He was Natty.
Just goes to show you never know who you're going to end up acting with. Also, I'd like to ask, what are the differences between acting on screen and off screen, like in the theater?
Film and stage, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Film and TV is... I love film and TV. I mean, as much as I love theater, I definitely say that I like film and TV even better, because there's just something about it. I mean, some people say, how do you do the same thing over and over and over again? I mean, I really don't know. I just do it, and that's what I love to do. And I just do it for hours and hours, and I don't even realize what the time, how much time has passed, because just something about the atmosphere on set, it's just it's amazing.
It's definitely a real passion. It's very awesome to find something that you love. It's like earning your Cutie mark.
I see what you did there.
Yes. I'm aware that you started acting and singing and such when you were 2 years old. So you've done a good amount of stuff in the theater and television world for your age. Do you have a favorite role or anything that you would like to mention?
I mean, yeah, I've been acting, singing, dancing, as you said, ever since I could walk and talk. My favorite role I mean, there's been so many favorites. In stage, I think the role of Dorothy this year has right now has been my favorite. For voiceover, Apple Bloom is my favorite of all time because I love the voice and I love going to the sessions. Besides that, also I love being the voice of a Care Bear. In film and TV, my favorite role was probably in the Disney movie Search for Santa Paws. And also, I loved Haunting Hour, which is a guest star episode I just did. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone for kids. It's on the Hub actually, and that was extremely fun. We had an amazing set. It was 995 rolls of clear tape as a giant spider web. So that was insanely amazing.
You probably see some really awesome stuff like that on sets all the time. It's really creative what people can do, effects on stage. Earlier, you were mentioning your dogs, and you seem very happy to talk about them, and one of your favorite acting works was Search for Santa Paws. You just really love dogs?
I love dogs.
Is it a role that you consider when you're looking for a show? I mean, or is it just a kind of cast thing?
No, actually, I don't go looking saying, can you find me a role where I can use my dog? I love dogs. I mean, actually, quite a few of the things I've done, I've had a dog with me. Actually, in Search for Santa Paws, we were working with dogs all the time. But yeah, I love working with dogs. I'm a total dog person, and I love my two doggies. Actually, they're right here with me.
Aww.
With you having such a busy schedule, what's it like trying to fit everything in? Like, I know you have started recording for season 3, or have been recently doing that, and I know you're in The Wizard of Oz till the 19th.
Yeah, we just started season 3 a couple of weeks ago. Every single season, it just keeps getting better and better. I mean, I love the fact that we're doing so many songs now, and I think that the viewers are going to be very happy with the episodes. How I fit everything in? I really do not know. I have my education. I go to my tutor's house and a couple of hours every day. I try to do it every day. Often it doesn't work out, but the good thing about distributed learning is I can get makeup time and I can go at any time in the day whenever my tutor's available. And so actually it's pretty flexible with my education, but with everything else, it's hard to fit everything in. I mean, I got my professional chauffeurs here, my parents, and I'm very thankful that they give up a few things to help me get to the studio and on set and everything.
So recently you've just launched your own website, I believe. What was that like for you, venturing into the world of the internet?
Yes, well, MichelleCreber.com. Yeah, I just recorded a new reel. Honestly, getting onto the internet, it wasn't that hard. My mom's assistant helped us get it up, and it was pretty easy, and it's fun to tell everybody that I have a website.
Might I just add, we will be linked to Michelle's website in the description.
That is correct.
Awesome.
Speaking of net, there are ponies all over the internet right now. Are there any sites that you visit that are pony related?
Yeah, when we go to all the My Little Pony sessions, often we always tell each other, "Oh, look at this! This is another website. It's a remix of our song." Actually, I heard a very funny one of my season 1 "Hush Now, Quiet Now," and in one of the episodes, it was very funny, and I love the fact that people are enjoying it so much because I'm glad that it's so entertaining to such a wide variety of people.
Do you have any favorite sites that you visited that are pony related?
Equestria, that's a funny one. I like that. I don't really know the names of them, but there are many of them.
Have you had much experience with the fan-created music?
Yeah, actually, I hear quite a few remixes of the songs we do, and they're really clever.
Speaking of this giant brony following, have you met anybody in person who recognizes you as the voice of Apple Bloom, or is it more of your on-screen, acting kinds of things that you get recognized for?
Yeah, I mean, quite a few people I've met know me for the voice of Apple Bloom. Sometimes, I'll be talking in a conversation that somebody would be like, "Wait, you're the voice of Apple Bloom? Oh, Oh, I love that show. I mean, it's different than film and TV because people see your face. But whenever they hear that I'm the voice of Apple Bloom, they'll know who I am right away.
So has it actually shocked you how many people have recognized your voice as Apple Bloom?
Yeah, a little bit. I really hope the show would become popular, just because I'm really proud of our production team for making this such a great show. Actually, I'm starting to get some emails from the Bronies and Pony fans from the United States and Canada. Actually, I got one from Mexico the other day. I keep getting emails like, stay cool, Michelle Creber. I love your website. You're the voice of Apple Bloom. All that kind of stuff. It's quite entertaining to read those emails.
Did you expect the community to be as far-reaching as it was? I mean, I personally live in England, and I watched the show.
I didn't even know that it reached England. That's amazing. Wow. I didn't expect it to go as far as England, but I knew the show could be successful, but this is amazing. This is great, I think.
You were saying you were not aware of how far-reaching the show was, but there are a lot of voiced-over versions in other languages. Have you heard any of them?
I have heard Apple Bloom speak in another. Yes, it's funny. I like that it's also gone to different countries and in different languages now. It's amazing.
I'd like to ask your opinions on the different languages versions of the songs in the show, if you've heard them.
No, I actually haven't heard my songs in other languages. It'd be interesting to watch, though.
What other roles are you doing on TV currently?
Well, I just finished up a bunch of things. I just did how I was talking about the episode of Haunting Hour. That was just about a couple of weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Hopefully there's more things coming up.
So, you've also played roles in the TV show called A Town Called Eureka and Supernatural. What were those roles like? Were they different to anything you've experienced before?
I mean, Eureka is one of actually my favorite shows, so I was really happy to get that role. Supernatural, I would not watch the show. I actually didn't watch the complete part of my episode. I just watched the part that I was in because it was quite scary. But on set, it's not scary at all because you know that none of it is real and none of it is happening. But I got to die in that episode, so that was different. But yeah, just different challenges, I guess.
So, what is the most interesting thing that you've done in acting, like on stage?
The most interesting thing I've done would probably be on stage. I think that this is my first experience in the Wizard of Oz flying. That's a different sensation. Being up in the air, the first time I was a little bit scared because I'd never really flown before where it really feels like you're actually flying. It's pretty weird. So that's probably one of the most interesting things I've done in stage.
So how exactly do they cause the flying effect? What's it like?
Well, we have, frankly, very uncomfortable harnesses under our costumes. And for me in the second act, so I don't have to have it on for the whole show, we're being flown by Foy, which is a professional flying company. Foy does everything from, like, Broadway to school plays. So we're glad to have them because they're very professional and they're very safe about flying. And honestly, you don't feel the pain of the harness. It's just after a while, yeah.
I'd like to know if there are any other unusual or strange things you've done whilst acting then.
Well, all the dog experiences. You cannot predict what they will do. They're usually good, but they are dogs, and in Stanley Park is where I did my first role as Annie when I was 9 with Max and Marley. There were raccoons out in Stanley Park, and well, I don't need to go any further with that.
I think anybody who has a dog knows exactly where that's headed.
Yep. But the raccoons would, walk across the stage, just hang out in our sets, and yeah, squirrels, birds, skunks.
Definitely an interesting situation. Speaking of which, Is there any part of acting you particularly dislike?
No, I love acting. The only thing that I would dislike is if one of our casting crew members don't have a nice attitude, or they're not being a team player, or if they're not doing their job. I mean, even if they're trying hard, then that's good enough for me. But if they don't care, then I don't find that a very appealing personality.
So you're very into the dynamic of the work crew. Do you have any funny stories from when you were recording for My Little Pony?
The first episode I did was when my character was completely, fully introduced, because I was in episode 9 of season 1, and actually I was featured quite a bit in that. But this episode was all about Apple Bloom, and it was my first session there, and I had these 2 huge rants. They just went on forever about the Cutie Crusaders. I had a blast with that. I mean, all the other cast was like, wow, because I did them right away, because I practiced them and I got them down on the spot. Yeah, but it was about Silver Spoon and Tiara's quinceañera.
Going back to the episode that just aired, the Cutie Parks, episode 6 of season 2, which would you say was your favourite of Apple Bloom's talents that she received from the Cutie Parks?
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that episode came out yet. Now that you keep saying that, I'm like, oh, I want to watch it. As I remember, first of all, she was tap dancing, and then she was speaking French, and then she had a loose tooth, and then she was juggling, spinning plates, and I remember the first thing she did. She was hula hooping. She had a hula hoop, but my favorite thing was at the end of the episode where she was doing about like 39 things at once. And so I was pretending like I was doing all these things, but I had to stay still. So I was doing all these things with my arms. She was doing every single talent like imaginable.
Do you ever feel like you're doing 39 things at once?
Yeah, often. Often, but I find time for sleep and for eating and for fun. I mean, I love to be on set. I love it so much. I mean, it's amazing.
Listening to Apple's voice, she's got a very distinctive accent. Did you model that accent off of anybody?
No, not at all. I was saying about how you have to be very creative when you go into a voiceover session like this, because they're very open-minded, usually. Where did I get the Seldom accent from? I honestly don't remember. They did not give me a picture of the character. They gave me a picture of Applejack, my older sister. And so I remember seeing her, and I still had the sides with me, so I pictured what Applejack's younger sister would look like, and I created a voice for that. Honestly, I never really copied it from anything. I just sort of did it.
Since you are Applejack's sister in the show, I would like to ask if you spend more time with Ashley Ball than the other main 6, and if you ever feel like she's more of a sisterly person to you.
Actually, on Dinosaur Train, she played my mother 2 times. 2 different characters. But in the MLP sessions, she's great. And she also plays Rainbow Dash. And so she switches from those different characters. She's such a brilliant voiceover actress. And she's famous. Actually, she's traveling across Canada right now with her band. And she's doing all these national competitions and stuff. So, but often I do more sessions with her. In the last episode, she was actually the only adult pony that was in the session.
Recently, Ashley had a voice injury. Do you know much about it?
Oh no, I did not know that. What happened?
We don't actually know very many details, but she cancelled half her band's tour because of it.
Oh my goodness, no, I did not know that. That must have just happened in the last week. I was just at the session last week, and I had no idea.
It was recently announced, and everybody, all the pony fans were pretty upset about that. We weren't sure if the news had gotten around much through the voice acting world.
Well, we wish her the best of luck to get better anyway.
So, Michelle, is there anything else you want us to know regarding your career or anything upcoming that we should look out for that you will be in?
Well, the episode of Haunting Hour shall be on the Hub in January. And so if you're watching My Little Pony on that, it'll be, I think it's on most of the days of the week, so you can catch that. You can give them the link to my website. And Christmas Lodge is on DVD, as I said. And if there's anything new, it'll be on there. So, yeah, I hope there's more upcoming projects.
Well, we're glad to have you on the show. On My Little Pony, I mean. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on.
My pleasure.
This has been Crescendo, AutumnSpice, and Michelle Creber, voice actress of Apple Bloom, theatrical performer, and TV actress. We'd also like to thank her family and hope you enjoyed the interview.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of EverFree Radio. I want to thank not only Michelle Creber, but also her family again and again and again for taking the time out of their busy schedules to talk with us. We're looking forward to speaking with Michelle again soon. Thanks to our technical director 8-Track for his incredible recording and editing skills, and our program director 1-Trick for her edits and her awesome live stream DJing. As always, thanks to my co-hosts Bones, Autumn, Crescendo, and Moonlight. And thanks to Sockware and Nash for editing our sites and our posts. Remember, EverFree Radio is the professional source for Brony media. Reviews, articles, music, interviews, more. We've got it here. Check back again this week when we announce our next amazing guest. As always, this is Final Draft, signing off. Good night, and good luck.
Hey Draft, how can you be a host if you didn't record any of the segments?
Hey, 8-Track, look! A distraction!
What? Where?
Cheese it!